we want to feel youthful again, then we should start to look at the machinery that provides energy for the cell and for the human body. The mitochondria are the nuclear power plants of the cell, if you will. Those are the little organelles within the cell that are able to combine oxygen and sugar or some sort of energy source into energy, into the chemical energy of the body, which is ATP. We know from all of the research that's been done that mitochondrial activity does decline with age. So you see here in this graph approximately a 40% reduction in efficiency of the mitochondria by the time you're about 60. So, this is not a sudden decline, but it's a gradual decline as you age. So it seems very logical then that we should first examine which genes are responsible for building and maintaining the mitochondria in the body. So let's go to the nucleus and find that out. And using the ageLOC tool, we could determine which genes are involved in energy production and maintenance. The next thing that happens with aging, and it's closely related as I'll explain later, is that cellular cleansing declines with age. It declines with age as well. That means that we have, as cellular energy goes down, we also have an increase or a toxic buildup of those things that are not healthy for the cell, that the cell needs to get rid of. Looking at it another way, if you see the blue cylinder on the left, let's just say that that's a barrel that contains the cellular purification system. And that's the capacity of the cell to keep itself clean and to renew itself. And then you look to the right and you see that there are toxins that cause the cell to age, damage the proteins and things like that. Some are external toxins like the pollution, the air that we breathe, maybe it's sun exposure, things like that that damage the cell or cause it to age, cause the proteins to age. And then you've got internal toxins as well. These are just the results of our metabolic processes. It's sort of like the metabolic exhaust that we produce, some of it from the mitochondria. And in the youthful cell, then we have more than enough capacity for the cell to cleanse itself and to keep itself renewed. Now, as we age, the aging cell is a different story. You see that the capacity of the cell to cleanse itself has reduced quite a lot, and that means that it can't keep up with the toxic burden that's there. That is the picture of an aging cell or an aged cell that we need to change. These are actually very closely related. They seem like separate things, and certainly they are separate machinery within the cell, and the genes that code for that equipment are also separate, but they work together ultimately. Because as cellular energy declines, then the ability of the cell to purify itself also declines. And as that happens, it affects cellular energy because things get sort of gummed up in the cell. So you get this downward spiral. It's a 1-2 punch of aging. And that affects your ability to feel young. And put it a really simple way, if you don't have any energy, you can't clean, right? It's just like a vacuum cleaner that you can no longer plug into the wall. It becomes a lot harder. And then before you know it, you're tripping over all the junk. So we have targeted those genes that are involved in cellular energy, a youth gene cluster, we'll call it, and cellular purification, a separate youth gene cluster. And you can see that as we age, because we have found those genes that change during the aging process, then we can target those and try to reactivate them. And that's what the ageLOC tool is all about. Targeting those genes and then reactivating them so that we can have that youthful feeling again. So in summary then, we've got an approach where we target the sources of aging. That's what ageLOC is. And our association with LifeGen Technologies, our database, all of that information that we have on being able to interpret the genome at the aging level, or in other words, measure aging at the genetic level, has enabled us to have a whole new innovative approach at targeting the sources of aging and doing something about it. In this case, we've targeted two systems inside the body, cellular energy and cellular purification, that I've shared with you are intricately connected. And the cellular energy helps us to feel recharged. The cellular purification helps us to feel refreshed. Now these work together, as I mentioned, right? So cellular energy in a youthful cycle actually is a positive thing for cellular purification. And cellular purification is a positive sort of a feedback for energy production, helping with the recharged and the refreshed feeling of youth. So the science then in a nutshell is identifying and targeting, then reactivating the youth gene clusters related to cellular energy production and cellular oxidative protection and cleansing.